Good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the launch of the ASEAN 2017 Business and Investment Program. May we request everyone to remain standing for the Philippine National Anthem, followed by the ASEAN hymn.
Tulan ka lang magiging sa manlulupig. Di ka pasisigit sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baga. May ilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng wataw at mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin na araw na kailan pang may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw na lumalhati pagsinta. Buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please take your seats. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for gracing us with your presence today as we officially launch the ASEAN 2017 Philippine Business and Investment Program through the Committee on Business and Investment Promotion. Today, we will be sharing with you the agenda and lined-up activities of the Department of Trade and Industry this 2017 as the Philippines serves host country to the 2017 ASEAN Summits. Our country's hosting this year is a momentous event as 2017 is ASEAN's 50th founding anniversary. Before we proceed to the discussion of the Business and Investment Program for ASEAN in 2017, we would like to ask our President to be assisted by the DTI's Secretary to please proceed to the ceremonial pillar in the middle to officially commence the launch. Placing your hand on the ceremonial pillar signifies that you are one with the Department of Trade and Industry in promoting inclusive and innovative-led growth for our business sector. Please do not remove your hand until the hand scan on screen is completed. Thank you very much, Mr. President. You may now take your seat. And everyone, kindly direct your attention to the screens.
From startups to pace setters From style setters to visionaries, from nature innovators to global agri-providers. Innovative economic progress is rapidly on the move in the Philippines and throughout the ASEAN region, evolving and transforming through a game-changing breed of business creators, the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, the change innovators. In the capable hands of MSMEs, the ASEAN's economic growth is propelled by innovation-driven change. Change from within, change in mindset, change for the betterment of people and communities. This is the ASEAN vision of inclusive growth that is truly people-oriented and people-centered. It is the collaborative goal shared by the ASEAN MSMEs as they partner to promote regional economic stability and unity. In the Philippines, the ASEAN's unified vision of prosperity plays a vital role in the economic ecosystem. Throughout the country, investment and trade partnerships are developing, flourishing. Innovative MSMEs benefit tremendously from the building blocks that have made the Philippines the fastest growing economy in Asia. Now, the ASEAN economy aims even higher with its innovative micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. ASEAN is the 7th largest economy in the world, with a combined GDP of $2.3 trillion. It is projected to be the 4th largest economy by 2050. ASEAN MSMEs have contributed significantly to the region's growth. MSMEs account for more than 95% of total establishments in ASEAN member states and employ more than half of the total workforce. Contribution of these enterprises to each of the member states' GDP is over 50%, and to exports, more than 30%. What makes them stand out at the forefront of the economy?
Our vision is to be the front runner of higher platforms of innovation in the creative industry by bringing the best of locally made content from the Southeast Asia, and we would like to serve as a gateway and partner with local content creator by bringing the best to the global market.
Orispa is the #1 rice brand-based pop products in the country. It is a homegrown brand that started as a micro-enterprise that is now an ASEAN brand.
Our ASEAN Awards for Business Excellence in Healthcare last year is paving the way for us to realize the dream. Orispa in every ASEAN household.
Creativity and innovation play very important roles in my businesses and many other businesses around the ASEAN region. The ASEAN region is very well known for crafts. Indeed, we make many things by hand. And like in many other industrialized countries, these crafts are dying. It's very important that we make designs so that this tradition continues, because it is our heritage and our window to the world.
The ASEAN Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership is key to ASEAN's shared prosperity. RCEP participating countries account for almost half of the world's population, contribute approximately 30% of global GDP, and over 25% of world exports. This partnership has the potential to open greater business opportunities in the region. RCEP aims to further lower trade barriers and secure market access and services for businesses in the region. There is no better time to partner for change than now. A shared vision, innovation, the unified resolve to engage and grow, hand in hand, partnering for change, engaging the world Together, let us soar higher on the wings of the ASEAN 50 to promote inclusive, innovation-led growth. ASEAN at 50, Partnership for Shared Prosperity.
Thank you for that exciting overview of what we can expect from this year's series of activities from the Committee on Business and Investment Promotion. Now, to give us more information on this, may we call on DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez to officially present and discuss the Philippine Business and Investment Program for ASEAN 2017.
Thank you. President Mayor, or what we call PM, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, PA, Presidential Assistant Joey Concepcion, our good partner from the private sector and the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, Secretary Ernie Abella, Secretary Bongo, Congressman Joey Salceda, Congressman Arthur Yap, Secretary Ramon Jacinto, RJ, Mrs. Emily Alvarez, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors of the ASEAN member states and dialogue partners, our partners also from the ASEAN Business Council over there who flew all the way from their respective countries. Palakpakan po natin sila. Our colleagues in government and distinguished guests and members of the entrepreneurship community, the Go Negosyo community, PCCI, and many more, PFA and AFI, members of the business community. And okay, maraming salamat at magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon. Over the years, ASEAN continues to progress towards a vision of establishing a prosperous, innovative, and a truly inclusive ASEAN economic community. As ASEAN, we are often characterized by our diversity. With thousands of languages spanning over 4.4 million square kilometers in 4 different time zones, we have become what we envisioned ourselves to be 50 years ago, and that is an economic powerhouse. Steering towards a globally competitive region, our proof is in the numbers. We are now the 3rd largest market in the world with over 620 million people, the 3rd largest economy also in Asia, and the 7th largest economy in the world with a combined gross domestic product of $2.3 trillion. In fact, if you include also the ASEAN plus 6 other countries, or what we call the RCEP, or Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, composed of Japan, China, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and India, this whole RCEP would account for 1/2 of the world's population and 1/3 of the world's economy. So that is how big our ASEAN and partners can be. As we gear up in maximizing the opportunities and benefits of our economic integration, let us not forget the 4 pillars of ASEAN Economic Community 2015, the establishment of a single market and production base, a highly competitive economic region, a region of equitable economic development, and a region fully integrated into global economy. This will be the landscape for which we will be focusing our dialogue with our ASEAN partners in realizing the ASEAN 2025 vision, starting with the 23rd ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat. This will solidify our priorities for the 50th ASEAN Ministerial Meeting, or what we call AMM, the 49th ASEAN Economic Ministers Meeting, which yours truly will chair for this year, being the Philippines as chair, and the 30th and 31st Leaders Summit. So this would be the ASEAN Summit attended by the presidents and the prime ministers in the region, to be chaired by our very own PM Duterte. Also, for this year's summit, the Department of Trade and Industry chairs the ASEAN Committee on Business and Investment Promotion, CBIP. We have developed programs that aim to complement and heighten the impact of strategic priorities and deliverables for the AEC. Simultaneously, during the Leaders Summit in April is the holding of the ASEAN MSME Mentor Conference 2017, which will be a platform to bring ASEAN members who can equip ASEAN local community enablers with the necessary information on access to capital, access to markets and ASEAN industries, and access to innovation. We shall partner with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, headed here by Joey Concepcion, and the other private sector organizations for this conference. To further promote the creative and innovative ASEAN, we will hold the ASEAN Creative Cities Forum and exhibit that will feature initiatives of 10 ASEAN countries in making culture and creativity a driving force for sustainable development and urban regeneration. Taste ASEAN, as the Philippines holds International Food Exposition, IFEX, in May. IFEX will showcase the best food brands from Southeast Asia and its partner countries. As we aim to include ASEAN SME participation in the global production and value chains, we hope to have the 10 ASEAN member countries, as well as the ASEAN Dialogue partners, to actively participate in the country's biggest international trade exhibition on food and food-related products. We have ASEAN Women's Business Conference in August to give us an important opportunity to hold strategic dialogue between ASEAN, the private sector, and dialogue partners in addressing issues and concerns on women's entrepreneurship. It will focus on market access and finance and the identification of innovative business models which supports the ASEAN's vision of a stronger, more inclusive, and integrated economic community. Philippines, through DTI, advocates the promotion of partnership among businesses, both small and big. We have dedicated the Inclusive Business Summit in September to put emphasis on the role of the government in sharing best practices on implementing inclusive business strategies, and to recognize exemplary inclusive business models through the ASEAN Inclusive Business Awards. Second, ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Carnival, on the other hand, will strengthen the network among young entrepreneurs from ASEAN and other countries, capturing the fast-paced development on key sectors such as food, agriculture, information technology, financial technology or fintech, logistics, BPO, startups, and the Internet of Things or IoT. Through the formal launch of ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Association Charter, we hope to commit our young entrepreneurs, strengthen ties, cooperation, and linkages. Driven by our goal to promote innovation across the ASEAN region, we will have Slingshot in October that will help create a regional network of ASEAN ecosystem players, including startups, angel investors, incubators, mentors, academe, co-working spaces, and industry experts. It shall showcase investment-ready startups for potential local and international investors, as well as facilitate easy access of information between governments running startup development programs in the region. There will be another ASEAN MSME Summit in November that will feature inspiring MSMEs, including those that have benefited from the mentoring program of the Philippines and other ASEAN member states. The summit, which is in conjunction with the concluding ASEAN Leaders Summit, will be an occasion to formally introduce the establishment of the ASEAN Mentors Network, an organization of mentors from 10 ASEAN member states, again in partnership with the ASEAN Business Council. Ladies and gentlemen, We have just unveiled promising programs that will complement our efforts in our community. We believe that there is no better time than today for ASEAN to seize opportunities delivered by the challenges of the global economy. As we host the ASEAN 2017 Summit, the Philippines is one with ASEAN in increasing trade and investments in the region, in integrating micro, small, and medium enterprises in the digital economy for greater access to trade information, global market, and value chain. Promoting youth and women entrepreneurship, finance, and increasing cooperation within the region and connectivity to the rest of the world. True to our ASEAN spirit, together, let us continue to break new grounds, equipped with our rich human resources, our world-class businesses, including our micro, small, and medium enterprises, and our strengthened collaboration with various groups, such as the ASEAN Business Advisory Council and the other organizations. Let us bring ASEAN Economic Community closer to the world. We shall work hand in hand, creating paths that will lead our people and our communities toward a truly inclusive, innovation-led, shared prosperity. Mabuhay ang ASEAN 50. Salamat po.
Thank you very much, Secretary Lopez, for that informative presentation on the country's business agenda and investment program in line with our hosting of the ASEAN Summit 2017. Now, may we call on the Chair of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, Mr. Joey Concepcion, to talk about the role of the ABAC in this year's Philippine hosting of the ASEAN Summits.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, Kuya Rodi, as I call him because of our project in Kapatid. Of course, Executive Secretary Bingbong Medaldia, who heads the National Organizing Committee for the entire ASEAN, and my partner, Secretary Mon Lopez, in really doing a good job executing the programs, great plans for ASEAN. And of course, my mentor, former President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. First, welcome. Welcome to our friends from the 10 ASEAN countries. They're over there. They arrived today for this special occasion. And many of you who are part of this change movement started ever since our new president was elected. Many of you here are from the private sector who belong to our organization who has been working for inclusive growth for the past so many years. This year, ASEAN turns 50 years. It is indeed a milestone. But in the end, a milestone has to achieve certain objectives for the greater welfare, not only of the Filipino community, but of all 10 ASEAN countries. 10 years ago, the Philippines hosted the ASEAN. My father then was the head of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. It was then former President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo who was the president at that time, and the event was held in Cebu. And many of our members here had fond memories of what happened in Cebu as the storm approached. But I guess that will not happen this year. It's been 10 years that the Philippines is really in quest for a solution towards the greatest problem of our nation, which is poverty. And that's why the ASEAN Business Advisory Council adopted Partnering for Change, but Prosperity for All. That, to me, will really put meaning in the ASEAN as we turn 50 years. We cannot achieve prosperity just for the few. Our president his principles, life, and his passion for change has to happen in his next 6 years. And we are counting on our 10 or 9 ASEAN brother nations to provide the valuable insights, advice, and mentor to be able to help us in the Philippines reduce the level of poverty in our country. Many out there of our youth are looking towards a bright future. We have countless of Filipino people moving overseas to seek better opportunities, better pay, and a better future. This has to change. We must promise them a great future in our country. So, prosperity for all will really bring about greater meaning to our ASEAN 50 this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joey Concepcion. And now, may we call on Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Chairman of the ASEAN National Organizing Committee, to introduce our keynote speaker.
His Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Thank you. Kindly sit down. Excellencies of the ASEAN member states, former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Secretary Ramon Lopez, Mr. Joey Concepcion, the other members of the Cabinet, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I was about 3 minutes late. I do not live in this building. I live on the other side of the river. And I commute to and fro in a tugboat every day. Naubusan ho kami ng gasolina midway. That's why I'm late. Good afternoon. We're here today to launch ASEA's Business and Investment Program for the year 2017. More than anything else, this program is a shared vision and a roadmap of what we all hope to achieve: genuine transformative economic change that will benefit all of the ASEAN peoples. After all, our peoples under betterment have always been at the core of the ASEAN efforts. Certainly, ASEAN has made significant inroads. Since inception, ASEAN has made tremendous strides in improving the lives of our peoples. From a region fraught with challenges, ASEAN now stands out for its dramatic diversity and dynamism. We have a huge market worth over $2.5 trillion. Collectively, the 7th largest global economy, ASEAN member states also represent the 3rd largest market base in the world, next only to China and India. With our economic integration, ASEAN benefits from a vibrant flow of the exchange of goods, services, and investments. And with both young and skilled labor in ASEAN, there are emerging creative forces just waiting to be tapped and unleashed. Make no mistake, our ASEAN today is much changed from the Southeast Asia in 1967. Our ASEAN today presents many real opportunities for investments to grow, for investors within and outside of our region. ASEAN needs to sustain its momentum towards inclusive growth, ensure that businesses and industries continue to thrive, and secure a policy environment that supports meaningful economic change and reform. Under the Philippines chairmanship, ASEAN will continue on this road towards greater progress and prosperity. We will work tirelessly to ensure that ASEAN's economic integration as an object and instrument of policy are fully harnessed. We will work together with ASEAN member states and partners to ensure that the trajectory of inclusive growth remains always on the upswing. To do this, the Philippines will focus on the following. First, particular attention to be paid to the micro, small, and medium industries that form the backbone of the ASEAN's collective economy. The objective is to build the capacities of MSMEs to make them active and competitive players in the national, regional, and global economies. I encourage business leaders and enterprises here to tap the MSMEs and help them integrate into the national, regional value chain. Sub-regional economic cooperation, such as the BIMP-IAGA, which the Philippines will chair this year, will likewise be crucial in pursuing development initiative at the grassroots. Second, full fulfillment will be sought for the pursuit of innovation-led growth. The objective is to use technology, innovation, and creativity to spur growth in existing industries and to stimulate new ones, including startups. If we're able to evolve toward becoming smart economies, we have to be intelligent about investments. This includes investment not just in the areas of science and research and development, but equally important is our precious human resources. Third, empowerment of women to be advanced so that they can take on a greater economic roles and participate even more broadly in nation and region building. The objective is to achieve the full economic potentials of women and to bridge the gender gap. Figures from studies show that advancing gender equality will result in $900 billion additional output to East and West Asian economies in 2025. In ASEAN, we will go beyond that and focus on achieving the equity and justice that all our women deserve. As partners in development, I welcome your interest and commitment to be the catalysts for change and consolidators in our gains. I urge you, all business leaders and enterprises, to take an active part in the vital programs developed to support initiatives under the Philippines ASEAN chairmanship. These include ASEAN MSMEs Mentors Conference and ASEAN Creative Business Forum and Exhibit, the ASEAN Women's Business Conference, the Inclusive Business Summit, the second ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Carnival, Creative Marketplace, Slingshot, and the ASEAN MSME Summit. Your experience and expertise will help in ensuring that the roadmap to growth remains responsive and relevant. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Indeed, ASEAN's action for agenda will be full. We will be working on agreements on facilitating investments, reducing the cost of doing business, developing MSMEs, improving and harmonizing safety standards, developing innovation economies, and increasing the participation of the youth and the women. Yet, we likewise be firm in our resolve to bring these agreements into fruition. In upholding our region's common interests and advancing towards our collective goals, know that the Philippines will work closely with the ASEAN member states and will engage our partners constructively to fully realize the positive changes we desire and aspire for our region. Let us together work ASEAN even stronger, more resilient, and ready to do business. Daghang salamat.
Thank you very much, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, for the very insightful keynote speech. At this juncture, may we request our President for a photo opportunity. For the first batch, may we call on the Cabinet Secretaries, Senators, Congressmen, and ASEAN Diplomatic Corps to come up on stage, please. Thank you to our Cabinet Secretaries, Senators, Congressmen, and ASEAN Diplomatic Corps. Now I'd like to call on the ASEAN Business Advisory Council.